having fun, or so they say. But when you work in education, time flies, full stop. Lucky for you, Teachers TV kindly presents Nick Packard, Joe Parry and Jane Dixon, our time-saving team. Today, it's time-saving expert Joe Parry, whose motto is empower pupils to save time.
Have you ever been in the situation where you're collecting in piles and piles of work and you can't remember whether that little monkey at the back has handed his hit in, and you've got to go through every single piece of work to find out if it's there? Or alternatively, you've got your mark book out and you've marked all 30 pieces of work, and now you've not got to enter them into your mark book. And actually, that's going to take you another 10 minutes to do as you go about your mark book trying to find the names in alphabetical order. Well, here is my tip. You have every child in your class with a number, so that every piece of work that they submit, they put their name and their number on, okay? When you've done that, it means that when I ask you to collect in all the pieces of work, you can put them in numerical order really, really quickly. And immediately I know, number 18, you've not handed your piece of work in. Fantastic. Then you've marked them all, feeling really good, glass of wine, watching EastEnders, life is good. Oh no, I've got that 10-minute job of putting them all into the mark book. It's easy. You've got them 1 to 30 and it takes you about 30 seconds. Pour yourself another glass of wine. What about those groups? Okay, I'm not working with him, we don't get on well together. So it doesn't look as if you've orchestrated the groups. What you do is you get your bag out for 8H or whatever they like, and I want them in groups of 3. I pick them out, put them in 3s. I'm doing it in a very random fashion. It looks really honest to children, and we know they all like that. Question and answer sessions. Have you got that child in your class who has their hand up constantly? And you think at the end of the lesson, it's basically been a one-on-one. Well, get rid of hands in your classroom by using your numbers. That means the very quiet child, or the child who doesn't want to listen, knows that at some point they're going to be asked a question. It also means that pick me at the front is actually not going to monopolise your lesson. Now, if you're teaching a mixed ability class and you're using your numbers in a question and answer session, pick out the number and then devise your question so that it is accessible to the child you are asking. So using numbers, not in place of names, but just to save you some time and a little bit of angst, I think would be something that you could use in your classrooms. Do you spend an extraordinary amount of time chasing students for late pieces of work? Well, what about this as a time-saving tip? Issue late work passes, 1 at the beginning of each term. If they then want to submit a piece of late work, they do it with a late work pass, no questions asked. Then, if they don't use them over the year, 3 late work passes and there's a reward, maybe a home close day, or chocolate, or whatever your students like.
Visit teachers.tv/timesavers for useful advice on implementing Joe's tips.
Have you ever felt like a parrot in your own classroom where constantly you are giving out the same instructions time and time again? All children need to learn how to do certain jobs, and I think the instructions will be different dependent on your subject specialism. For example, I'm a chemist and therefore practical tasks are very important to me, and I need my students to be able to perform safely practical tasks. So what I suggest you do is really have a good look at your teaching and over a few weeks audit those instructions that you use regularly. So for example, how to set out a piece of work. If I've heard myself say underline the title and put the date on the right hand side once, I must have heard it a million times. If I'm bored with it, they're certainly bored with it. So once I've said it a couple of times at the start of the year, then I have a transparency, or actually now I'm getting more IT literate. I have a PowerPoint of regular jobs and I flick up the side that's got how to start a piece of work. That means every single child in the class knows what I want them to do. So, depending on what you teach, you will know what's pertinent to you. For example, if you want to do starting work, setting up a practical, how to clear things up, what you should have achieved from your lesson, those sort of things, get them in mind, hear yourself saying them, and instead of taping yourself, give instruction sheets. Then, this is double-edged. That child who asks for the third time, "What did you say we had to do, miss, sir?" You can now go and get rid of all your angst and say, "It's on the PowerPoint. Could you read it?" Great skills for them, and they become independent in their learning, and you don't become infuriated, and you get your classroom as you want it. So for those regular jobs, don't waste your time repeating yourself time and again. Have them up on the PowerPoints and save yourself huge amounts of time and huge amounts of grey hairs as well.
We challenged art teacher Emily Underhill to try out one of Joe's tips in the classroom.
It's very difficult to know exactly how long 3 minutes is. So if you give your students 3 minutes to do a certain task, how do they know when those 3 minutes are up? And how do you stop it extending to 5 or even 10 minutes? Well, what I suggest you do is you try to use music. Use music that your students know, and therefore they know when the track is over. That means they know exactly how long they've got to do a task, and they will finish it in time.
I think that particular tip would actually mostly benefit me for packing materials away, because normally when I hand things out, I, deploy individual students. It's not something I'd normally consider, but I'd certainly give it a go if it means that, 5 minutes is cut down to 3 and I can have longer for a plenary. This would probably work a lot better with the younger kids, particularly year 7 and 8, as those in 9 and 10 would either disagree with the music choice or would think it was a bit naff. I think the only real problem I could see with it was that some of the kids might go a bit crazy.
With an estimated preparation time of 5 minutes, Emily gets down to picking a tune for her Year 7 art group. But will this music tip be top of the pops or top of the flops?
Today's going to be the first time that I'm going to try using music with my Year 7 group to help them pack away more quickly. I'm a bit sceptical about how it might go. Hope they'll either do it really well and quickly within the time, but I'm worried that they might be a bit silly. Anyway, we'll see how it goes. Right, everybody, stop what you're doing, look this way, please. Now, normally we have about 5 minutes to tidy up, but today we're going to try something a bit different. I'm going to put some music on, and hopefully it's something you know. So today you'll have 3.5 minutes to get everything tidied away, and you have to be back in your seats by the end of the song. Ready, go!
I'm frustrated, I'm sweating, I'm fretting. It's like the pressure is high and it's burning my eye and it's killing my vibes. I could kill on this vibe and I don't know why, but I hate it. I'm so frustrated.
Are we in our seats? Well done, Year 7. I think that's the quickest I've seen you pack away, and pretty much the tidiest. I'm extremely impressed. If your chairs are under, you can go. Thank you very much, everybody. I thought that was really, really good. I was dead impressed with how quickly the children packed away today, to the extent that some of them were done even within 3 minutes. The only issue was that some of them were sort of off in the corner having a little boogie, but because they cleaned away, whereas normally it's just people messing around. I'd definitely use that again. May consider it with older groups, and I'd recommend it to other practical subjects, science, technology, PE, because it really did help get everything packed away swiftly. I'd give that 8 out of 10.
Colour coding. I spend an awful lot of time, I don't know about you, shuffling through my in tray, finding that elusive piece of paper, and they all look the same. They're all black prints on white paper, and then 10 minutes have gone and I finally find it. So what I do is I make sure that letters to parents go out on blue. My worksheets are on green, so I know immediately what colour paper I am looking for. So colour coding works very well for me, but in addition to that, I'd like to push in the monkey on my back, which is absent students. You seem to spend extraordinary amounts of time running after those children and trying to find out which lesson they were not in and therefore the work they've missed. So again, with my colour coding head on, I have in my laboratory 7 of these magazine files, each with a week on. In that week, I have all the classes that I teach in different colours. I just spend a few minutes at the end of each lesson putting in the worksheets I have used with that class and any of my notes. That means when my absent student comes back, they can say, I was off in week 3, all the work will be there for them. So my green sheets in here for my absent students, and that horrible telephone call from a parent I know is on a yellow sheet. Colour coding works really well for me. Do you spend a lot of time explaining to students work they've missed when they've been absent from school? Well, what about this as a tip? Put a big wall planner in your classroom, make a brief note of what's been done in each lesson. When the student returns to school, point them in the direction of the wall planner. Now it's their responsibility, not yours. We've called this reviewing. I'm going to rename it here for you. It's called having a week off. Okay. Do you sometimes feel that you're the one in your classroom working the hardest? You're the one at the front doing all the tap dancing and all the work, and the students are there, sat there, like sponges, taking it in. However, what about this? We all get to the end of a topic and we all know it's good teaching practice to review our topic and make sure that our students have learned everything we want from that topic. So, take your topic, divide it up into chunks, okay? And then you can either do this individually or in groups, and I like to do it in groups. Give a topic to a group. For that week's homework, what you do is you say to this group, you are going to do a review presentation. Now you can either do your presentation using the board, you can use overhead, you can use PowerPoint. Get them to really think about how they're going to present it to the rest of the class. Do that for the whole class for the subject area. Then they present to the class. They also have to, as part of their homework, produce a worksheet, a summary sheet that will be stuck into everybody's books. They also have to produce a question sheet, which they will pass out to their peers at the end of the lesson for their peers to complete for their prep. And then the next week, they get it in and they have to mark it, peer assessment. Okay, this is a real cheeky one because you have a week of no preparing, no presenting and no marking, but in educational terms, your students are learning to present, they're learning to review, and they're building up their knowledge by thinking about how they give across topics to their peers, plus they assessment for learning is fantastic. Peer assessment works beautifully. So no, not a week in Barbados, but a week with that class where you're not the one tap dancing at the front of the classroom.
You can get useful advice and templates if you visit teachers.tv/timesavers.